Women oppression. This chapter often talks about colonists and their settlements. It brings up the oppression they place on others. I want to focus on that and how colonists treat other people like women, Native Americans, or African American slaves. Although they were treated harshly, my main focus will be on women. During the colonization era, women were viewed as lesser than or inferior. It was a patriarchal world. Men were in charge and did all the breadwinning for their families, while women stayed home and did house duties. Men always made the house decisions. Everyone thought women were weak and illiterate. Men wouldn't even give women a chance to have the same opportunities as them. When they finally allowed women to go for their education, they would not let them learn other languages like Latin, which defined class in their era. The only jobs women were allowed were domestic servants, small retailers, spinsters, or midwives. Women were not allowed to land rights. When men were done with their land, they would pass it on to their sons. Of course, women could work in the fields with their husbands, but they would not get anything from it. Women did not have many legal protections. They would go to the church for everything. Divorce was looked down on. Women would petition to the church for separation, but by that time, their husband would have already left them. They would go to the church while going through rough marriages because the churches would be there for support. Women were so belittled that everyone automatically assumed that women just did not have the right to vote. It was stated in the book that it had not been a coincidence when Thomas Jefferson was signing the Declaration of Independence that he put all men were created equal. No one thought for a second that women were remotely equal. Women could not even own property or sign contracts if they were married, but men were guaranteed custody whenever their children when the husband or wife divorced, no matter the circumstance. Women did not serve on juries. In some cases, like the Quakers, they were able to, but they didn't have important roles. Married women could not work outside of home. Unmarried women worked very low-paying jobs and were guaranteed to live poverty lifestyle. Women were excluded from working in law or even in the medical field. Religions encouraged for women to be treated this way and to be looked at as less than, because of the Adam and Eve incident. Women may have had some economic roles, but more than likely never assumed to them until their husband had passed. Women were just required to give up their life to parental and spousal needs because children were seen as needed a lot of parental guidance. Many women would lose their property that they were living on because of being separated from their husband in any way, whether of being widowed, separated, divorced, because women were really not allowed to own this property. Some jurisdictions did allow women to own property, but women wouldn't go through with it. There were minimal ways to prevent pregnancy during this time. Even then, some women saw no need for birth control because having children seemed like the only marriage goal at the time. People would get married in their early 20s and have children every other year. But childbirth was not regulated well during this time, so many women died during childbirth. Women gained some benefit from protesters. They helped with divorce court, although many divorces did not go through because the local courts would reject it. Laws in colonies punished abusers and rapers, but some sentences didn't go through because women had consented, quote unquote. Overall, the oppression on women was really great in this era.